Hello everyone, this is Dr. Priyanka Sajdev from MedLife series of live webinars. I welcome you all for this session, and in this video I'm going to cover a topic from general pathology, that is pharmacokinetics, a topic from pharmacokinetics, that is bioavailability. So just give me a second so I can start. What is bioavailability? What is its importance? How it is calculated? So just a second. So here we go. So in this topic, in this lecture, I am going to cover a topic from general pharmacology, that is bioavailability. We know that before starting bioavailability, I will give you a brief introduction about the branches of pharmacology. We know that what is pharmacology? It is a science of drugs. Pharmacology has basically two main branches, that is pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. What is pharmacokinetics? What is pharmacodynamics? What is the difference between them? Pharmacokinetics is what the body does to the drug. What human body does to drug is known as pharmacokinetics. And on the other way around, pharmacodynamics is what the drug does to the body. What the drug does to the body. If we are sick, we take drug. For any disease, we take drug. So whenever the drug goes inside the body, what is the reaction of body towards the drug? What does the body does to the drug? That is known as pharmacokinetics. And ultimately, what the drug does to the body is known as pharmacodynamics. That is the simplest definition. We will discuss one by one. What is pharmacokinetics? First, we will take pharmacokinetics. As I have told you, it is what the body does to the drug. What the body is doing to the drug. Uh, as soon as I take any drug. Now there are multiple ways, there are multiple routes of administration of the drug. Most common route of administration of the drug is oral. We take the drugs by mouth. We take the tablets, we take capsules, we take syrups, but all these we take by mouth. That is oral route. The oral route is the most common, simplest and cheapest route of administration of any drug. But there are various another routes also, like inhalational route, nasal route, intravenous route, intramuscular route, subcutaneous route, ocular route, transdermal route, and many more. Per rectal route, per vaginal route, there are many more. So there are various routes of drug administration. Here we can say these are all routes of drug administration. Through whatever route we are taking any drug, ultimately that drug reaches to the blood. So that is the first step body does to the drug, that is absorption of the drug. Absorption of the drug is through whatever route you are taking the drug, through whatever route, ultimately that drug reaches to systemic blood. When the drug reaches to the systemic drug, this process is known as absorption of the drug. Just suppose you are taking any drug orally by mouth, so that drug will goes in your mouth, in your esophagus, in your stomach, in your intestine. From the stomach and intestine, the drug get absorbed through the blood capillaries, and it will reach the systemic blood. At first it will go the portal circulation, and then it will reach the systemic blood. So that is the absorption. Ultimately it is absorbed from the stomach and the intestine. If you are taking any drug through inhalational route, the drug will go first in the lungs. From the lung capillary it will absorb and reaches in the blood. If you are taking any blood through nasal route, from the nasal blood capillaries it will be absorbed and reaches in the systemic blood. If you are taking through intravenous route, it will directly reach in the blood. Only intravenous route is such a route in which we are giving the drug directly in the blood, systemic blood, and there is no need of absorption of the blood, only in intravenous route. In rest all the routes, the drug has to be absorbed from particular that blood capillaries of that organ. If you are giving any drug intramuscular, in the muscle, if I am giving any drug in the muscle, in the gluteus muscle, in the deltoid muscle, from the muscle blood vessels, blood capillaries, it gets absorbed. So ultimately drug is absorbing and reaching into systemic circulation. So that is the first step, that is absorption of drug. Pharmacokinetics have four parts. What the body does the drug. So as soon as I take any drug, the first thing body does is absorption of the drug. If I am giving the drug IV, that is a different thing, no need of absorption. Apart from IV, intravenous route, if I am giving the drug to the patient by any other route, the body has to absorb the drug from that site into systemic circulation. So the first part the body does to the drug is absorption. After absorption, look at this diagram. Now just understand this diagram. After absorption, you are giving the drug through many routes. You can give through IM, through subcutaneous, through oral, through ocular, nasal, inhalational. You are giving through many routes. Ultimately, through whatever route you are giving, it is reaching in the blood. It is reaching in the blood, systemic blood. This compartment is systemic blood. So that is absorption. This process is known as um, absorption. Once the blood reaches the systemic circulation, it has to reach from that, it will circulate throughout the blood capillaries, throughout the arteries, veins, and blood capillaries of your body. From here, the blood has to reach to the site of action. If I'm taking any drug for diarrhea, if I'm having diarrhea, if I'm taking any drug for diarrhea, the drug has to reach the intestine. If I'm having headache, I'm taking any drug for headache, the drug has to reach the brain parenchyma for showing its mechanism of action. So the drug reaches to its site of action. The process is known as distribution. So first the body absorbs the drug, takes the drug into the systemic circulation. From systemic circulation, the drug distributes, the body distributes the drug to its site of action, to its particular site of action, where its target receptors are present of that drug. So drug reaches to its site of action. This is the second step known as distribution. The first the body absorbs the drug, then the body distributes the drug to its site of action. Now, drug has shown its mechanism of action. If I am taking any drug for headache, the pain is now there is no more pain. The drug has shown its mechanism of action. Now the drug has to be excreted out of the body. The last step the body does is excretion. But before excretion, most of the drugs are non-polar. Non-polar drugs cannot be excreted out of the body. So non-polar drugs has to be converted into polar drugs so that they become water soluble and they are excreted in urine. So conversion of non-polar drug into polar drug is known as biotransformation or metabolism. So the third step before excretion the body does is biotransformation or metabolism of the drug. So there are 4 steps the body does to the drug. I am discussing pharmacokinetics. Pharmacokinetics is, what is the definition? What the body is doing to the drug. As soon as I take any drug, body does 4 things to that drug. First, the body absorbs that drug. Just suppose I am taking any drug through oral route. Can you see this is the capsule? Person is taking through oral route. So the blood is going inside and from the stomach and intestine, the drug is absorbed into the systemic circulation. This process is known as absorption. That is the first step. After absorption, the drug has to reach its particular specific site of action where it will show its mechanism of action. So the second step the body does is transferring the drug from entire blood to its specific site of action. Just suppose brain parenchyma, intestine, whatever, for whatever you are taking that drug. Correct? So that is distribution. Now, drug has shown its mechanism of action there. In distribution, after distribution, drug will show its mechanism of action. But that part is pharmacodynamics, not pharmacokinetics. In mechanism of action, what the drug is doing to the body. That is the thing. So that is pharmacodynamics. After distribution, there will be mechanism of action. Now, drug has shown its mechanism. Whatever the drug has to do with the body, drug has done. Now drug has to be excreted out of the body. That will be the last portion. But before excretion, drug has to be converted from non-polar form to polar form so it can be easily excreted out of the body. So the third part of pharmacokinetics is metabolism, also known as biotransformation, in which non-polar drug is get converted into polar drug. And finally, the drug will leave the body. That is excretion. So these are the 4 parts. Can you see here in this diagram? The first the blood, first the drug get absorbed. Just a second. I will show you. First the drug is absorbed. Can you see the drug is absorbed through? If you are giving drug through any route, it is ultimately absorbed in the blood. From the blood, it will go to its site of action that is known as distribution. Now it will go to liver for biotransformation. Most of the biotransformations, 90% biotransformations occurs in liver. In liver, the drug gets converted from non-polar form to polar form, and after that, it will be excreted. So that is the 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 parts showing the various parts of pharmacokinetics of a drug. So that was all about pharmacokinetics. Now I'm coming on pharmacodynamics. Pharmacodynamics. What is pharmacodynamics? I have already told you. Pharmacodynamics is what the drug does to the body. So pharmacodynamics has only one part. What the drug will do in the body? Drug will show its mechanism of action. So pharmacokinetics have four parts, that is absorption, distribution, metabolism or biotransformation, and excretion. This is all body is doing to the drug. And what's the drug will do to the body? Only one thing. That is, it will show its mechanism of action. After distribution, it will show its mechanism of action. That is, pharmacodynamics has only one part. That is mechanism of action of the drug. So that was all about overview about the two branches of pharmacology. That is pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics. In pharmacodynamics, there is only mechanism of action of the drug. There are no further parts in pharmacodynamics. So in this lecture, I am taking a topic from pharmacokinetics. In drug absorption, there is an important factor which affects the absorption of the drug. That is known as bioavailability. Bioavailability is an important aspect of pharmacokinetics. So what is bioavailability? Write a short note on bioavailability. You will get such a question in your exams. So what will you write? What is bioavailability? Bioavailability, this is the definition of bioavailability. You can see here. Bioavailability is the fraction of administered dose of drug that reaches the systemic circulation. What does it mean? Just a second. What does it mean? Now you are giving the drug through any form. Most commonly, you are giving through oral route. If I have taken a tablet, just suppose if I have taken 100-gram tablet of anything, 100-gram paracetamol I have taken. So how much gram paracetamol will reach in my blood? That is bioavailability. It is not necessary all 100 gram will reach in my blood. If I give it through IV route, that is directly in blood, so all 100 gram will reach in the blood, because all 100 I am giving directly in my blood, so it will reach in systemic circulation. But apart from IV, in all other routes, bioavailability is never 100%. A fraction of the drug is lost somewhere. All the drug which you are giving is not reaching the systemic circulation. So the fraction of the drug which is reaching the total amount, whatever total amount of drug you are giving, the fraction of it which is reaching in the systemic circulation is known as bioavailability. Now read the definition. What is bioavailability? Bioavailability is the fraction of administered dose. Whatever you are giving 100 gram, so a fraction of 100 gram will reach in the systemic circulation. All 100 gram will never reach in systemic circulation except in IV route, intravenous route. If you are giving directly in blood, it will reach 100% in blood. But if you are giving through any other route, it will never reach 100%. So that is the bioavailability. So what is bioavailability? Tell me the definition. The fraction of the administered dose, whatever administered dose in grams, milligrams you are giving, the fraction of it, the percentage of it which is reaching in systemic circulation is known as bioavailability. Bioavailability is 100% only in one route. Which is that route? IV. Apart from IV, in all other routes of administration, bioavailability is never 100%. It is approx 100 but never 100. Correct. So these are various routes. We will discuss two routes. First the oral route and then IV route. Two important routes. Oral route is the most common route of drug of administration. We know it. If I am taking any drug through oral route in the form of syrup, tablet, capsule, anything, if I am taking it through mouth, so if I am taking 100 gram of it, just suppose how much gram will reach in my blood? That is bioavailability. If I am taking 100 gram, how much gram will reach in my blood? That is bioavailability. Now it depends on three factors. Number one, if you are taking through it oral route, so it has to be dissolved. If you will take it with water or with some liquid. So with water or with some liquid, the drug has to be dissolved in the intestine. So it is not necessary whatever drug you are taking, 100% of it will dissolve. So number one, all the drug will not dissolve. So some drug will remain undissolved, so that will be lost. It won't come in systemic circulation. After dissolving, the drug you are taking through mouth, it is going in esophagus, it is going in stomach, it is going in intestine. After dissolving, it has to be absorbed from the intestine is like a cylinder. So in the lining, there are four layers in the intestine: mucosa, submucosa, muscularis propria, serosa. In submucosa, there are blood vessels. So in the lumen, the drug is present. The drug is absorbed from the blood vessels present in the submucosa. So absorption should be complete. If the drug is left unabsorbed in the lumen of the intestine, it will be excreted in feces. It will be excreted. So first factor is complete dissolution of the drug, which is never complete. Second factor is complete absorption of the drug, which is never 100%. And the third factor is first pass metabolism. I'm talking about oral route. In oral route, there are three factors which affects bioavailability. Number one, the drug should be completely dissolved in the stomach and intestine. Number two, the drug should be completely absorbed from the lumen of the stomach and intestine. And number three is first pass metabolism. There are three factors I have shown: the dissolution of the drug, the absorption of the drug, and first pass metabolism, that is drug in portal vein. What do you mean by first pass metabolism? Whatever things we are taking orally, whatever drugs we are taking orally through mouth, they will reach the stomach and the intestine. Can you see? Of course, it will go in esophagus, then stomach, then intestine. From there, they are absorbed. The blood vessels present in the submucosa of the stomach and intestine, they will absorb the drug. Of course, so after absorption, where these blood vessels will take the drug? First, they take the drug into liver. This is known as portal circulation. So liver acts as a filter. They directly don't go in the heart. Normally, all the veins go in the heart, right side of the heart. They drain in right auricle of the heart. From the right auricle, they go in right ventricle, and right ventricle, they will go in lungs for purification. After that, they will come on left side of the heart and through aorta. It is distributed in systemic circulation. But it is not true for GIT. For GIT, all the veins are absorbing the drug from the lumen of the intestine. Veins are absorbing the drug. The veins will go in the liver first. This is known as portal circulation. From GIT, from intestine and stomach, the veins will go first in the liver. In the liver, enzymes are present which will metabolize the drug, which will disintegrate the drug, which will metabolize the drug. So concentration of the drug, whatever you have given orally, it will be reduced in liver, and then it will go in systemic circulation. So on reaching the systemic circulation, the concentration of the drug is reduced. You have given 100 milligram, out of which only 90 is dissolved. 10% is not dissolved. So only 90 is dissolved in water. Out of 90, only 80% is absorbed. 10% is excreted in feces. Out of 80, just suppose I'm taking for example, just for the sake of understanding, out of 100, 10% is lost in absorption. Another 10% is lost in dissolution. Now from 80%, just suppose this 80% is absorbed and reaches in the liver. The liver destroyed another 30% of it through its enzymes. So only 50% of the drug is left in systemic circulation. So you have given 100 gram. In the systemic circulation, it is reaching 50 grams. So bioavailability in this case is 50%. It is always given in percentage. Correct. So that is first pass metabolism. So oral absorption in oral route of administration, bioavailability depends on three factors. Number one, dissolution of the drug. Number two, absorption of the drug. And number three is first pass metabolism. Now you can explain what is first pass metabolism. Liver is acting as a filter for GIT absorption. Correct. So whatever amount of drug you are giving through various routes, the fraction of it will reach in the blood, and that fraction is known as bioavailability. So we have discussed oral route. I'm taking another example. We can discuss all routes, but we are taking two main routes. Another example is intravenous route. As I have told you, if you are giving any drug directly in the blood, so whatever amount you are giving, it is reaching in the blood. So if you are giving 100 gram, all 100 gram will reach in the blood. So bioavailability for IV drug is always 100%, always 100%. And for oral, it is never 100%, never 100, because it depends on three factors there. Correct. Now that was about the brief introduction about bioavailability. What is bioavailability? What is bioavailability in oral route? What are the factors on which it depends on oral route? What is bioavailability in IV route? Now, how do you calculate bioavailability of any particular drug? If I'm giving any particular drug in your hand, just suppose I have given paracetamol in your hand. Now I asked you to calculate the bioavailability in a subject. There is a patient, a subject is present in front of you. Just calculate the bioavailability of this particular drug X, just suppose say. So how will you calculate? For this, you have to make a graph. Graph between what and what? Between what and what? What you will take on x-axis, what you will take on y-axis, and how you will calculate the bioavailability. On y-axis, you take the plasma concentration of the drug. I will tell you just a second. On x-axis, you take the time. So a graph is plotted between plasma concentration and time. A graph is always plotted between the two things. On y-axis, it is always plasma concentration of that drug, and on x-axis, it is the time. What I mean to say, if you are giving a tablet of any drug through oral route to me, just suppose for example I am taking paracetamol by mouth, so it will reach in my stomach and intestine, it will be absorbed, it will reach in blood, whatever fraction of it will reach in blood. So concentration initially, before taking, the concentration of the drug in the blood was zero, but as soon as you take the tablet, after some time, after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever, it will be absorbed, it will reach in blood. So concentration in blood will go on increasing from 0, it will become 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever amount you have taken, depending on the dissolution and absorption, drug will be absorbed and reach in the systemic circulation. Correct. After showing its mechanism of action, the drug will be excreted. So after reaching a peak concentration in blood, just suppose it reaches 50 milligram, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. After 50, it starts declining. It is an example just for the sake of understanding. It will start declining. So again, from 50, it will be 40, 30, 20, 10, and it will become zero because it will be excreted in urine. Na? Correct. So if I draw a graph between the time and plasma concentration of a drug, if there is a subject in front of me, I have given an oral tablet of drug X to him or her. And if I take plasma, his or her plasma in every 10 minutes to check the concentration of drug in his or her plasma, then, and if I plot a graph, so the graph will be like this. First, the concentration of drug goes on increasing. Initially, the concentration of the drug was zero. As soon as I have given a tablet, after some time, the concentration of the drug starts increasing. After every 5 or 10 minutes, I am taking his sample and seeing the amount of drug, concentration of drug present in his sample. So initially, the concentration will go on increasing because he is absorbing from the intestine. After a certain point, a peak concentration will reach, and after that, concentration starts falling, and it will become zero. Why it is falling? Because after some time he started excreting the drug in urine through kidney, and it will be excreted in bladder and comes out of the body. Correct. So this is the graph. The graph will always be of this shape only. Correct. It will be like a triangular shape. First, the concentration will increase, it will reach a peak, and the concentration will decrease. So this peak here, this peak is indicating two things. This is the time after the drug administration. This is the time at which peak concentration is reaching. And on this axis, it is showing the maximum plasma concentration of the drug that could be reached. Now that is okay, but where is the bioavailability here? How do we calculate bioavailability from this graph? I have made this graph. There is a subject in front of me. I have a drug X in my hand. I have given that drug to the subject, and in every 5 or 10 minutes, whatever interval I am deciding, I have taken the plasma of this subject and checked the drug concentration. Till from zero, it will rise to maximum, and from maximum, it will again drop to zero. This graph is in front of me. Now, the area of this graph, if I calculate the area of this graph, it will give me the value of bioavailability of that particular drug. So bioavailability is calculated as area under curve. It is known as AUC, under curve. Which two? I have drawn the curve between which two things? That is plasma concentration and time. So between plasma concentration and time, if I have taken these two things on two axes, and if I plot a graph, then the area under that curve, we can calculate the area of a triangle. We know the various formulas in max, half into base into height, whatever. We can calculate the area. The area will give me the value of bioavailability in percentage. Correct. So this is the thing. So this is the curve I have already discussed with you. The area under this curve, which is known as AUC, area under curve, between what and what? Plasma concentration and time will give you the value of bioavailability. So if a graph is given to you and I asked you calculate bioavailability from this graph of a particular drug, you can calculate. Yes, if you can calculate the area of that curve, you can calculate the bioavailability. Now this is the same drug given by two different routes. This is the same drug. This is the curve formed by when the drug is given by oral route. This is the curve with the red I have formed. And when the same drug is given by IV route, this is the curve. Now, can you see? Grossly, you can see the area of which triangle is more. The area of IV is more, or the area of oral is more. Of course, the blue color triangle is bigger than the red triangle. So, of course, The area under curve in IV route is always higher than oral, because in IV the bioavailability is 100%, always 100%, and in oral it is always less than 100%. We have already discussed why it is less than 100%. So these are the two curves of the same drug given to the same patient under same conditions, but bioavailability of the drug given through various routes is always different. It is 100 for IV and never 100 for any other route. Correct. So that is the summary. Now, various drugs are available under various brands. Just suppose I say example of paracetamol only. There is a brand name known as Crocin, which gives paracetamol 500 milligram. There is another brand named Linol, which also gives paracetamol 500 milligram. Now, most of the patient have prescribed some brand. They go to the medical shop and they ask the component, and they just see the, it is also 500 milligram paracetamol, it is also 500 milligrams, so it will be same effective as as another brand, but they don't check the bioavailability. You have to check the bioavailability, whether the two brands is having same bioavailability. This is also having 500 milligram paracetamol, this is also having 500 milligram paracetamol, but out of 500 how much will be absorbed in your systemic circulation, that will be effective. That 500 will not be effective. How much it will be absorbed? So the drug which is having more bioavailability is more beneficial for the patient. Correct. So there are two types of drug: bioequivalent drug or biologically inequivalent drugs having the same composition. Correct. In this graph also you can see three different drugs: A, B, and C. With the green curve, you can see drug A. With the red, you can see the drug B. And blue one is drug C. Now, can you see out of A, B, C, which is the smallest triangle, which is having the least area, smallest area? We can see the blue one, that is C. I will mark for you. That is the C, this one, C. The blue one is having the smallest area. So bioavailability of drug C is less than A and B. Now among A and B, I can't say which one is having more area or less area. A is a taller triangle. Can you see A? It is taller, and B is flatter but wider. So if I calculate area of A and area of B, maybe it may be same. Just suppose they are same. It is taller, it is wider, but overall area of A and B, can you see green and red? They are same. Then which will you prefer? The cost of the two drugs is same. Mechanism of action is same. Area is also same. So bioavailability is same theoretically. But the drug to be effective, there should be minimum concentration in the blood. B is not crossing that concentration, and A is crossing that concentration to reach the peak concentration. So I will prefer. So there can be some tricky MCQs based on the step, based on this graph. So that was all about bioavailability. Just give me a second. So hope you enjoyed the lecture. You got the concept of bioavailability, and you can do all the calculations depending on this concept. So wait for the next lecture. Bye bye. See you in the next lecture. I'm going to take pharmacokinetics further ahead. That is, I will discuss volume of distribution, order of kinetics, also enzymes. I will take pharmacodynamics. Okay, bye bye. See you.